And now, coming away is Falk for New York. Play broken up just outside the blue line. And the Canadians nearly got a free chance there. Markov got him back on side. London is with him. Headed for the net. The pass doesn't reach him thanks to Derek Stepan. And he lifted the puck down the ice for New York. That's Subban trying to pick his way through, and he doesn't see that lane, Greg. He wants to turn around and try it all over again. He might do it 2 or 3 times. This is Bork. He was rubbed out along the boards trying to get in. Gianna forechecking, good play. Gianna, Subban, high shot, rebound. No shot on the second attempt by the Canadians. They got their first shot on goal, though. Rangers come back out. Down on this right side. Brassard trying to set it up from the boards. Now Zuccarello took a shot, hit a stick, and cleared by Montreal. This is Zuccarello. He's a little guy. He's very quick. 5'7", 179, so he's stocky. He's the Rangers' leading scorer from Oslo, Norway. Number 36. Rangers change. Richards took a swipe at the puck and missed it. This is Kevin Klein for New York. Coming away with Justin Falk down the ice. The Rangers get the puck in deep. Price out of the net. Scooped it ahead a little bit for Pacioretty. He was slow getting to it. Stralman at the blue line. Wants to get a backhander away and does. Price made a good arm save, as he did have some room there. Pouliot playing behind the goal for New York. Here comes the first penalty. Gonna be against the Montreal Canadiens. And here's the call, Greg.
Well, it all starts with a real good play by Stralman to get a good chance to score by taking it in from the blue line. And after that, that creates a little pressure for the New York Rangers. And it draws a penalty as Weaver behind the net trips up his opponent. Right here on Hagelin, down he goes. And the first power play of the hockey goes to the New York Rangers.
Rangers power play on the road, 6th in the National Hockey League, a little over 21% efficiency. That's decent enough. Let's see what happens on this, the first one of this hockey game. The Canadians are going to intercept and get it out. Go on the attack with it. Gianna flipped it in front of the net. The Cannons had a chance, couldn't reach it. He was checked from behind. Gianna ever dangerous, short-handed for Montreal. Now stepping up as John Moore dropped it back. Stepan brought it over the line for New York. And Price puts it high on the boards, doesn't get out. Center, knocked in wide of the net. And Nash tries to center again, gets it back. It comes to Richards at the blue line. The other way. Now the shot by Moore, and that's blocked. Richards missed it. Down the ice it goes. 1:10 left in the penalty. First one of the game. There's no score. Rangers after it on the power play. Price comes out, cuts the angle on Derek Brassard, and makes a great save.
Well, a big breakdown by the Montreal Canadiens here leaves Brassard wide open in front. What you love about this save is the way Price tracks the puck. It comes right at 1, 2, 3 Canadian players on the side of the ice, and that leaves Brassard wide open. Carey Price knows it's a shooting position. Here he comes. He just tracks right out and makes a terrific save to keep the score at 0s here early.
He's been doing this all year. Carey Price has the Canadians headed to the playoffs. They're going to meet Tampa Bay. As Ron pointed out, I had to wait till tomorrow to find out where it starts. This is Brassard again. Sharp angle this time. No shot from him. Not yet, anyway. He might get one here and does. Price has the short side covered and stopped him again. At the blue line, kept in by Stralman. That was blocked. Again, Brassard sets it up to Stralman. One-timer. It is blocked again. The Canadians getting in front of the shots. Again, Brassard steps up a little bit. Side of the net with that pass. Price watching the post. Comes out to Brassard. He comes at the net. Shoots. Deflected. It went high. Good power play. Good looking power play by New York Rangers. 3 shots on goal and nothing to show yet.
Some good movement by the New York Rangers here is really moving around the Montreal penalty killers, but give them credit. Yemelin here gets right into the shooting lane with a good block, and then moments afterwards, another good block by the Montreal Canadiens as they get into the shooting lane. Carey Price, Johnny on the spot when he had to be. Some nice movement by New York and some good work by the penalty killers by the Montreal Canadiens.
Still no score, and Klein missed the puck at the Ranger blue line. He goes to pick it up. He's just inside the Canadiens line, hopped over his stick, went all that way down the ice. Here he is. Kevin Klein shoots it in. Price got a piece of that. Georges lost it in front of the net. Stepan centered it. And Nash fanned on the first shot. Second one is stopped by Price. And the Canadiens hang on. Penalty is done. 4 stops by Carey Price to make sure the Rangers do not score. Subban Pacioretty. The shot is blocked. No rebound right there, and the Rangers clear it quickly up the center ice. Dorsett was stopped. Vanek gave it to Pacioretty to Vanek. He's in. Pacioretty! Backhander is wide. Pacioretty takes the puck behind the net from the corner now. Here at the blue line is Bouillon. Winds up, no shot from him. Goes to the net though. It's intercepted. Turning is Vanek. Can't get a shot. Vanek stays in there with Desharnais. Goes around the net for Klein. And he gets the puck out and down the ice. It'll be icing called against the New York Rangers.
Montreal's a terrific counterattack team because of their speed, and you cannot give the puck away in the neutral zone like the Rangers do here. And here comes the counterattack by Montreal. Pacioretty, who's had such a wonderful year, goes right in on Talbot. And you like the way Talbot held the short side here and was in perfect position as Pacioretty went to the backhand and ran out of room.
Nearing the 8-minute mark of period number 1. In a good pace to this New York Ranger Montreal Canadian game on this last Saturday of the regular season. Markov can't keep it in. No damage done. He has it. They're onside. Canadians get onside, and it was flipped high by Briere. Caught by the goalie, Cam Talbot. And we'll be back after this.
Our Subway bio tonight is on Brad Richards, who, like our Bob Cole, is a bit fanatical about the Masters and golf in general. His favorite golfer is Phil Mickelson, who missed the cut yesterday. Just to bug the guys, he'll wear his master tie on game days. Thursday was the green version, and tonight it's the gold with the Augusta logo. He actually has played at Augusta twice. Once with his father, Glenn, during the 2010 Olympics. He's a 4 handicap, and even better, Bob, when he played in Tampa.
Well, there's no doubt about it. He's a great hockey player. I didn't know his handicap was down as low as 4. I knew he was good, but that's great.
It's a little higher when he plays you, Bob.
Better believe it.
Take some of that money.
Yeah, I guess. Yemelin can't get the shot through for Montreal. Shot around the net, though. The Canadiens. Gallagher knocked down, got up on the puck. Got it back. Markov sends it in. No shot from the slot area. Going to be cleared away by Kevin Klein of the Rangers. Yemelin missed it. Slapped ahead again by Broussard. Deep in the Montreal zone. Yemelin picks it up along the boards in the corner. Little flip pass by Plekanec. Got it up to center. Rangers poke it back. Yemelin turns around. He saw Bourneval go. Gave it to him. Markov had to pick it up. Bourneval again. Stopped at center ice. Rangers turning it back. Richards dropped it back, and nobody could pick that up. No score. First period. Coming up to 9 minutes of play. Rangers and the Canadiens going at it tonight. Long shot by Strawman to stop. Sweeping at it was Hagelin. Price is down, and the Canadiens cover in front of him. That's Vanek. Got to center, rifled it in. He keeps going, hoping to pick it up. Nearly did. Good rush by Vanek to get in. Georges tapped it ahead a little bit, but that's all. Now he has to back up quickly as the Rangers get it out and down the ice. But the Rangers are changing now. There's Subban. Takes off. Tries to cut for the net. He went in too far. Forced in there. Turns it back. Strawman stayed with him all the way. Centered, and Strawman picked that off. Lifted one down inside the Montreal blue line. That'll be an icing call against the Rangers, so it'll come back again.
One of the many Montreal Canadian players that have put up some excellent numbers is Pacioretty, and the coach tells us Michel Therrien has just been his maturity level as he grows as an athlete. And he's very close to that 40-goal mark this season.
Briere comes on to take the face-off against Stepan. And he wins it. Canadians might get a shot here by Georges. Wide of the net. And Bourque had it hop over his stick. Rick Nash turned it back up across center ice. Subban waited for that. This is Georges to Subban. Right straight up to Briere to the goalie. Talbot smothers the puck.
One thing about Talbot, he's very good at handling the puck, and the Montreal Canadiens a couple of times on entry have given it right to Talbot, and he's made 2 or 3 real solid plays with the puck so far in this game. And often if you don't have a play with a good puck handling goaltender, shoot it right at him, like they just did to get a whistle, and see if the Canadiens can now win the draw and gain some offense here off that play.
Thomas Plekanec steps in for the Canadiens on the draw against Dominic Moore of the Rangers. Moore has always been pretty good in the faceoff. Wins another one. Takes the pass. Threw it up to Dorsett, and he dumps it in softly. No score. First period. Halfway mark. He just hit it. Moore is on the puck, stealing it. Centered it. Hit a skate right in front. And Carey Price had to be careful with 2 Rangers in close. There is no score in this hockey game yet. We're in the first period.
Welcome back to Montreal in the Bell Center. And the Montreal Canadiens have been hit with some injuries as of late. Brandon Kruss skated this morning with the team and took in some extra contract drills with strength and conditioning coach Pierre Allard. He's expected back for the first round of the playoffs. Not so good news for Travis Moen, who is skating but on his own and still dealing with concussion issues. And Alex Galchenyuk left Wednesday's game for Chicago and expected to miss the first round of the playoffs. Bob?
Thanks, Cassie. Talked to that young man, Galchenyuk, the other night. He's on crutches, looking after that leg. They need him back. He's a great youngster. Good, speedy winger. Great hands. Terrific future with Montreal. Canadians kept the puck up to center ice. And they're on it, led by Gallagher over the line. The shot blocked. Gallagher got the rebound back quickly. Gallagher trying to knock that down with his hand. Got into Plekanec, twisting and turning behind the net. Out front. Slap at it by Lease. Couldn't hit the puck at the side of the net. Canadians keep it in. Boyle hit his man over there, but the puck was in deep by that time. Lease centered it all the way back to Bouillon. But he's covered right away. Shot it anyway and missed the net. Rangers pick it up. Reaching for it was Derek Dorsett. He did make contact, and it's down the ice. 9 minutes left to play in the first period. Shots are 10-2 New York Rangers. Canadians hanging on, get the puck ahead to White. From center, he lifts it in. It's wide of the net. Talbot is out to play to the corner. Canadians try to cause a problem by staying in on the forecheck. They're doing fine. Centering pass. The goalie reached out, saw that a man was open in front, and Talbot may be the hero there, saving a goal maybe. Wide open net behind him, but he deflected the puck away from the Canadian player in front of him. Rangers get the puck out of the zone down that far side. Boyle takes off of the net, make that Hagelin. He got in there. No shot yet. Dumped in there to the corner for Hagelin. He's around the net with it. Zuccarello the other way. That was missed over there by Broussard. The Canadians slowly to get organized in their own zone as the Rangers were changing. They might have gone. 7:50 left in the period. Now finally the long lead pass. That won't work. The Rangers strolling back. Put a high one on the glass down across center. The Canadian defensemen were back. Georges and Subban. Subban the other way. Gonna go high. That's out of play.
real good play by Talbot here as the New York Rangers get a little bit crossed up in their defensive zone coverage. Pouliot goes for the big hit on the half boards, and when he does that, Diaz is in front of the net. Now he'll chase you right and leave his check wide open in front, and Talbot saves the day with a nice little tip to tip it out of harm's way, or that would have been a pretty good scoring chance for the Canadians. A nice play by the young goaltender.
Stepan, Carcillo, and Nash for the Rangers. The Canadians have Bourque coming away on the left side. Saw the defenseman catch up, and it's dumped in. But John Moore was back to pick it up for New York. Didn't do much with it. Canadians are on it back there. Georges takes the pass away from Subban. He nearly had it picked off by Nash. Greer slapped it behind the net. Gionda centered it. Rangers covering in front. Carcillo knocked it down. Had to hurry that one. He got it out and down inside the Montreal line. Subban takes off. Got to center. Three Rangers were watching him turn back. Does this a lot. Now Subban has the pace slowed. Got it up to Desharnais. He's upended at center. That's got to be a penalty. Going to be a fight too. Bouillon coming in after Dorsett. And they're trading hard rights. Another hard right by Bouillon, but he takes a couple back. This is a heavyweight scrap, no doubt, between the two blue lines. Bouillon is getting roars from the crowd. Another hard right by him. The two guys stay on their pins, throwing hard, haymaking right hands. And the crowd is standing at the Bell Center. Here we go on a Saturday night. Bouillon, my goodness. Sore knuckles after that bout.
It all starts in the neutral zone with this hit here, and the Rangers don't like it at all as Dorsett with the big check, and they respond immediately as they don't like this low bridge on the play. And right as Desharnais goes down hard and right away. Julio answers the bell, and a pretty good scrap by these two afterwards. Both players got a couple in, Bob.
I guess they did. Sore hands, look at them.
The Rangers will have the initial penalty, and Montreal will go on the power play.
The penalty was called, and the scrap occurred right after the referee had signaled the minor penalty. Watch it again.
And immediately, Subban went first, and then Bouillon jumped in immediately. These two had a pretty good goal.
So wonder knuckles are not broken when you're throwing punches at the helmets like that, you know? The mask, helmet.
I'll tell you one thing, their hands are often all cut up, Bob, after it.
No score, first period. Crowd alive in Montreal. This will be fired down the ice by the penalty-killing squad for the Rangers. Canadians power play now. Markov softly to the blue line and dumps it in. Gets in position at the far side. Had to hurry to get up there to keep it in. Rangers don't clear it out. Vanek stopped it. It's finally cleared down the ice. Got by Subban.
7 shorthanded goals for the Rangers in the last 19 games, 10 on the season. They really try offensively when killing penalties.
Here's Desharnais. Sends the pass back. Vanek is in. Shot is stopped. Right back to Markov. Another pass. Subban had to wait for that pass. Then took it. That's wide of the net and cleared down the ice by the Rangers. Penalty time. 1 minute left. No score. First period. Shots are 10-3 Rangers. Power play Montreal. Here we go. Right to center is Georges. Put a high one in. That was a high stick, they say. Stopping the play in the Ranger zone.
Canadians have not had a power play goal in 7 straight games as it's gone really cold down in the month of March and this short month of April so far. And Vanek gets a real good chance to score here, walking right in. Talbot gets his blocker on it. And one thing that Michelle Carillon is looking for is a lot more aggressive play when the Canadians are on the power play.
Canadians' power play here at home is just over 17%. That is not good. Montreal fans have been used to great power plays down through the years. This one is a little soft at the moment. Georges takes a pass at the line and dumped it in. They're outside the four-man box set up by the Rangers. Rangers would love to keep him out there and pass it around. They're doing that. One is picked off and cleared down the ice. Good move by Carl Hagelin. This is Hagelin for Montreal. 15 seconds left in the power play. They get the zone one more time. And that's all. Georges has to hustle back. Nash, who's quite speedy, took off, and he nearly got a break for himself. But Georges circles the net and gets it ahead to Bourque. The penalty to the Rangers is over. With just the one shot allowed by the Canadians on that power play. 4:36 remaining in the period, and no score yet.
And there's Henrik Lundqvist, who sits across from the New York Rangers bench at the Bell Center. And the Rangers had a bit of a scare Thursday night in a game versus Buffalo when Cody Hodgson, it was late in the game, he fell right into Lundqvist. Henrik looked to have felt something in his right leg. However, he looked great today in the pregame skate. He stayed on for some extra work, and he will be key, Bob, in any success the Rangers have in the playoffs.
33 wins, Cassie, for this great goaltender for New York. Henrik Lundqvist, one of the world's best. Nice to have a great goalie going into the playoffs, as the Rangers are, as the Canadians are. Rangers after the puck, looking for the first goal of the game, to the line. Long shot by Diaz is blocked by Carey Price. He hangs on to it.
Yeah, Bob, and remember at the start of the season after Henrik Lundqvist signed the contract, I mean, he had as bad a stretch as he has had in his career. And Alain Vigneault was quite concerned about him, as was Benoit Allaire for a little bit, as he was not stopping pucks. And like it always happens, once Lundqvist started to go, the New York Rangers started to go.
That's the way she goes. 4:17 left in the first period. Whoa. Right across the blue ice in front of Price, but he was alert. Saw the puck disappear. Desharnais gets in over the line, can't get a shot away. On him rather quickly. He's been sharp for Montreal. Desharnais. Number 51 for the Montreal Canadiens. Missed the puck that time, but it got out to Pacioretty. Down through the middle. Vanek put the shot on goal off the breast pad of Cam Talbot, and he covers up. Amy works with Ty and Caleb's barrel racing horse and ends up riding him in a high-stakes competition. Watch the season finale of Heartland tomorrow night at 7 on CBC. Face-off is deep in the Rangers zone to the left of the goal with 3:48 left. And here we are. Canadians face-off wins. Subban coming up, dances in, and shot the puck wide of the net. A couple of dandy moves. And Talbot, a stick save, sending the Rangers to the line, and the puck is out and down the ice. That's an icing call against New York.
I like Talbot's game so far. A shutout here in the building earlier in the season. He looks very calm and complete. Good play by Subban here to drag and get into a shooting position. And that's a pretty darn good save there, as Subban was in a perfect spot on the ice.
Briere against Stepan. Briere wins. Subban twisting around again. Bourque fell when he took the pass. So Subban starts off again from his own line. Takes a look ahead. Hard pass to handle. Got in near the net, but that's all. Shot down the ice again. Subban and Georges remain on, and they get the play started to Gianta. Shoots the puck up behind that Ranger net. The goalie gave it up back there, but recovered in time. No damage. And Mark Stahl Got him out to center ice. Rangers move on. Broussard tried to get in there, dropped it back. And the high shot by Zuccarello is off the glass. Canadians down there dumped in for Bournemouth. By Gianna, who turned to go off on a change. Bournemouth was alone until White caught up. And here comes Glundon. He played it along the boards. The Rangers intercept, and they get the puck out of the zone with 2:30 left in the period. The defenseman Anton Stralman was up. Backhanded the puck deep. Pass up for White, and he didn't see it in time. London was there, recovered and got it out to White. He didn't move on it. And Richards turns it back for New York. Played by Falk to the other side. Rangers get organized up. It's tipped in over the line by Jesper Fast, but wide of the Canadian goal. Weaver shot it around the net. Quick shot from that sharp angle over there was stopped by Price easily. He couldn't hang on to it. Turning us fast. Left it for Richards. Hit the side of the goal, and reaching for it was Price. And again, he hangs on.
Well, Price has been the all-star for the Montreal Canadiens all season long, and at the other end, you can say these two guys for the Rangers and net have been unbelievable. And Alain Vigneault plays a defensive style of game, and that certainly helps the goaltenders out with their save percentage. As you can see, has been the top of the heap in the new year.
Well, here's the face-off to the right of Carey Price. Under 2 minutes remaining in the first period. Scoreless period in Montreal. All right, dumped on the boards by Weiss. Got to center. Gallagher put it in over the line, but he was knocked down. Zuccarello played it back. The Rangers lift the high one to center. The Canadians break it up. Yemelin stopped at center ice. Got it again. Shot it in. Weiss is moving on it. He lost it to Boyle. He put it to center ice, and the Rangers had two coming in. Zuccarello, though, was a little late coming on, and Dominic Moore was offside.
A real patient first period of play. And you mentioned, Bob, what a terrific season that Zuccarello has had for the New York Rangers. And one thing that he does extremely well, he's got great hand-eye coordination. And anything around the net, he tips pucks. And he's one of the better tippers that I've seen in the league for a while. He gets a lot of his goals that way.
Glenn Saylor told me this morning he loves him. Little guy, 5'9", as I mentioned earlier. He can go, he can take on anybody, and he can score. He's 59 points. With 19 goals for the New York Rangers. Rangers back. That's Stralman with the puck. Mark Stahl with him. Couldn't get it out. Vanaken stopped it in. Stahl put it over for Stralman. He didn't move it very far. They're having a tough time. Getting the puck out of the zone. We're in the final minute, as you heard. Canadians, three of them organized. Vanek made a move at the line. Desharnais and Pacioretty were both ahead of him offside.
And Zuccarello seems to, as you mentioned, Bob, such a great scorer in that tipping that he does so well. And here's a couple of redirects. He always goes to the net, seems to be in that high slot and knocks pucks down from that area. Another example here, right there, right in the slot, coming into traffic and redirecting the puck past Robin Lehner last Saturday night.
Ties up his man right here, Rennie Bourque, allowing the Rangers to clear the puck. Across center, dumped in off the boards by Broussard. Weaver was back to help move it up to the line, but not out. Weaver stays in, covering his man, knocked the puck away, but there's Zuccarello again. He knocked it loose, but the Canadians are going to move it out. 18 seconds remaining in the period. Bourque trying to get in around the defenseman Stralman, but he was not to be fooled. Under 10 seconds. Canadians. Briere takes a look at the clock, knows he has nothing to do but shoot it. He did that. It was called on the offside with under 3 seconds left. Icing is called, really. So all the way back with the 2.7 left on the clock.
Talbot will come out of the net for the extra attacker. Will the Rangers go forward, or will they try to draw it back for one quick shot? Richards directing traffic at the moment.
2.7 seconds. Now that's a fair bit.
He's going back.
Let's see what happens. Rangers have 6 skaters right up inside the blue line, hoping to win the draw. They do. Shot deflected wide of the goal. Good try by New York Rangers, but nothing to show. Each had a power play in the first period. The shots, though, were by the Rangers 14 and by the Canadians 5. Don Cherry is standing by. He's in the coach's corner. Of course, with her on. Coming up in our first intermission on Hockey Night in Canada on CBC. We're scoreless in Montreal.
Welcome back on a beautiful night in Montreal, and I spoke with associate coach Scott Arniel between periods for the New York Rangers and asked him what was the message to the team knowing that you're sitting some key players like St. Louis, Girardi, and McDonough. They knew Montreal was going to be competitive after a tough loss on Thursday. They said to the team, don't get embarrassed by playing poorly in a meaningless game, and reminded them that they've been playing so well the last 10 to 15 games to keep that momentum going into the playoffs. Bob?
Thank you, Cassie. General Manager, President Glenn Sather just visiting with us in intermission. And he feels good about the upcoming playoffs for his team. They are coming along just fine. His words, that's pretty good when you have a great goalie like he has. Rangers should be okay. We're going to play Philadelphia, starting in New York. In the first round, Canadians will meet Tampa Bay. We won't know where that series will start till tomorrow.
And to Cassie's point, the New York Rangers 9-2-1 in their last 12 games. They've had a funny season at home where they're just 20-17-4. And their road record has been marvelous. So starting at home will be interesting for the New York Rangers, the way they played there this year.
Tampa Bay in Washington tomorrow afternoon. Canadians close out their season tonight here in Montreal. There's no score. Icing call. Slow start to period number 2.
Time Cam Talbot seems to be in the net for the Rangers. It's a low shot game, and he was telling that to me this morning, and he said, no, maybe they're scared when I'm in the net. Pretty good line by the youngster. He's a nice gentleman with some pretty good character. Boy, he's a good goaltender.
Eric Stepan at center ice for New York. Can't win it. Cleanly won by Plekanec of the Canadians. Down the ice into the Ranger zone. Gallagher up first. Chopped the puck around the side of the net. Weiss trying to jam at it. It goes loose to the other side. Plekanec got it back to the line, and it's shoveled off to the corner in a hurry. And Stepan was back for New York, giving it to Strawman. That's out and down the ice. Another icing call.
Well, the plan for the Rangers in the playoffs says Martin St. Louis, who's not in this game, he's being rested for this one, playing with Nash. They've had a little bit of a tough time finding some chemistry together, but it is coming. And here's a pretty nice looking goal by Nash from St. Louis on Thursday against the Buffalo Sabres. And they need St. Louis going a little better than he has so far as a New York Ranger. It would be a bonus for them.
Canadians to Pacioretty. The shot is right on, and that was stopped by Talbot. He's a guy you want to set up, Pacioretty, when you do get a chance. What a great shot, and he has the puck again. Lost it near center ice, though. Backing up is Mike Weaver. Bouillon comes on, jumped it ahead. It's up over the Ranger line. Cleared again into center ice. Weaver pounds it back in. It's wide of the Ranger goal. Pine on it first for New York. Took his time and doesn't get it out. Centering pass. Vanek tried a backhander to stop. And getting away quickly is Hagelin down across center. Little pass attempt back for him. Didn't arrive. And the Canadians cover. But Fast was over there for New York to stop it and keep it in. Rather loose play by the Rangers. Allowing Subban to feed it ahead. Desharnais looks at Vanek. He takes the pass. Centered it. And Bork was covered. And it's cleared away by Dominic Moore of the New York Rangers. Got it as far as the blue line and out. Canadians were offside. They're going to allow the play to continue, though. It comes out over the line. Hagelin tried to get going. Shot it in. And that's a sign to change up for the New York Rangers. Down the ice for Gianna. A little bit too far for him. The goalie Talbot out to play. Briere missed it. Bourque stopped the Rangers at first, but then Dominic Moore carried on. Shot it into the corner. Two Rangers in to pick it up. Moore went after it. It came loose. And down for Giunta. He was stopped outside the Ranger blue line, then backhanded the puck in deep. Bourque flipped it to the corner. Briere couldn't control it. It's out again. We're coming up to the 4-minute mark already in this second period. Brassard doesn't know where the puck is. So the Rangers give up a chance there as Briere saw it and just took it away from Derek Brassard. Oh, another giveaway. Look out! They had been called.
Penalty coming up.
Yeah, Price was out. Knew the penalty had been called, but it's a scary moment for a second for the Canadians.
You better be sure. And here's a look at it. Yemlin comes out behind the net. There's a trip by Brassard. He's saying, wait a minute. It wasn't a trip. Well, it certainly was. Caused a chance to score. Good call by the official right there. And that would have been a 2-on-0 if it wasn't called.
So it's the second power play of the game then for Montreal. They're waiting to get their first shot on goal, Greg, with the man advantage.
Alain thought it wasn't going to be a penalty. He was standing on the bench. Now he's giggling about it with
Canadians, every man up for the face-off, hoping to win it. 5 of them inside the line. Bourque knocked down. Puck along the boards, and the Rangers are going to get a chance to clear it. Rick Nash takes a look, strides once or twice, and then put it all the way down to Carey Price. Subban with the puck. Stepan was the forechecker for the Rangers. Canadians slow, getting organized. Their power play has been dismal of late. Crowd getting restless. With the extra man, they shoot it in. There's no score in the second period. Off the boards, Rangers a chance to clear, and they're going to do it. Down the ice it goes again. This time, thanks to Carl Hagelin. Subban takes a look, sees a lane to go, decides to throw it up there. Good choice. Desharnais hammered against the boards, and the Rangers can't get the puck out on the first chance. Second time they do. Boyle, he might get a shot. Comes in on goal, decides to circle the net. Tried to wrap around, it didn't work. Lead pass cut down there quickly to Desharnais. Vanek takes his pass. He's in. Desharnais. Pacioretty around the net. Back out, shot. Off the leg and wide of the net. Subban cranked one. Again Subban. Short pass ahead to Vanek. Ready to shoot. Passes off. Deflected over the net. Back to the line by Desharnais. Up to Desharnais and comes in. Side of the net. Pacioretty. They jam away at it. Desharnais has the puck. To the line. Shot. Wide. Big rebound. Cleared away by Falk. Vanek. Desharnais. That's stopped by Talbot. And goes out of play. Now the crowd likes what they see in the Canadiens' power play, but they haven't got a goal.
Well, Vanek is so creative, and sometimes the players are telling me that they're not even ready for the pass because he does some remarkable things. And how about this play here? On his backhand, straight through the middle of the ice, right on the tape to create a good chance to score. And what a save here by Talbot, moving across and anticipating the play.
Two shots stopped by the goalie. 3 or 4 more missed the net. Penalty time down to 10 seconds. One more chance for the Canadiens. Behind the net, out front. Here tried to tuck it in on the post. Back to the blue line. It escapes Josh Georges. The penalty is done. So the Rangers have killed it off, albeit some great scoring chances for the Canadiens. Now a giveaway at the Canadian line. Brassard shot. Light pad save. Georges gave it to him and now recovers the puck for Montreal. Got it ahead. Nice pass to the middle for Briere. Leaves it. Shot fired wide by Giunta. Giunta is after it with Bournemall back to the line, and that pass easily picked off and cleared away by Brassard. The shot is in on Carey Price. He caught it and dropped it for Yemlin. Brassard stole it. Rangers get another chance. Nice save by Carey Price again. They're both going all out for that first goal of the game. Here dumps it in softly. Both teams are changing on the fly. Nearing the 7-minute mark of the second, the pace is picked up. It's a torrid pace now. Richards just missed the pass. And the play is called. The linesman is coming over. I don't know, but they got too many men on the ice. Is that right? No?
No, they're just making sure, Bob, that the same players are on the ice for the icing.
Ah, got it. The linesman came over right away with his arm up, so we had to wait.
Carey Price here with a couple of big saves as both goaltenders in this second period have been busy. Look at how Price with that range with his right pad is able to follow the puck across and stay with this play. A broken play in front, uses his stick, and then covers the bottom half of the net, and it doesn't go in on Pacioretty.
Got a good eye on that one, Greg, where the linesman was coming over, waiting for the change to be made. Is what he was doing to tell him that couldn't be done.
And Pouliot right on the doorstep, whacking away at the loose puck.
All right, it's off a skate to Desharnais. Delivers a pass. Pacioretty in close. Can't center it. Good play by Mark Stahl to get in the way of the pass. But the Canadians jam away at the side of the net. And Cam Talbot, the goalie, is down to cover up and hang on to it. Still no score at the Bell Center in Montreal.
The Montreal Canadiens this week unveiled a wax statue of Maurice the Rocket Richard, and it's an unbelievable resemblance. Other than the letter, the assistant on the left and the captaincy on the right, it's an amazing statue. Of course, Guy Lafleur was there, members of the Richard family, and it's a nice treat for the Montreal Canadiens fans to see here at the Bell Center. Bob?
And they're quick to tell everybody there'll never be, Cassie, another Rocket. You gotta believe them. People of that era will tell you not a more exciting winger breaking for the net than Maurice Rocket Richard. Canadians try to get going here. Subban, he just fell. Had to wait a bit. By that time everybody was covered, and Rangers bring it back in. Dorsett trying to get a shot. Centered it. Here's a good chance. Price down. And the second shot just missed the net. Rangers come very close. Still scoreless in Montreal, nearing the 8-minute mark of the second. Puck loose. Bodies fly behind the net. And there's Vanek. Pass the puck straight ahead, easily picked off at the Ranger line. Boyle didn't get very far. Pacioretty has to wait. He's checked and comes to Dorsett. He backs up inside his own blue line for the Rangers. Nice pass to Stahl. Coming in on goal. Shot is stopped by Price. No rebound for Dominic Moore to jump on as Price hangs on.
Well, Carey Price, Rob Pouliot earlier in this period, and he's starting to get quite busy here as the Montreal Canadiens a couple times have given the puck away in the neutral zone, which has caused a man advantage break for the New York Rangers. And here's Boyle shoveling it through, and Moore just shoved the rebound towards the pad of Carey Price. And here's a quick pass up here. And again, Carey Price well out of his net as Stahl joined the attack.
Nash screen shot. They'll do it all over again thanks to Carey Price. Hanging on to that screen shot. No further play, and the face-off coming in there again.
A pretty quiet game so far. Both teams have been quite defensive-oriented throughout the contest until the last couple of minutes where things have opened up a little bit due to giveaways.
Canadians had the puck after the face-off. Weiss was knocked down before he could move it. Giveaway, step on, pass, and the shot is fired wide by Rick Nash. The Canadians get away with it again, get it up near the line. 8-4 the shots in this period for New York. In the first period, they made a correction, and they've called it New York 13 shots, with Montreal getting 6 in the opening period.
Bob, at the moment, there's a big story just developing here as Gallagher ran into Carcillo right inside the blue line, and he is in considerable pain. He's just coming out of the zone, and Carcillo, I don't know what he was thinking. He just goes right for him. I mean, there's no ice awareness at all for him. Gallagher just trying to get out of the zone, and Gallagher has been such a great player for Montreal all season long. Hobbles. And I don't know, like, did Carcillo jump and hit him? I mean, it certainly looked like it there. I don't get that play by him at all. And that's the one thing both teams are worried about in games like this, is injuries going into the playoffs.
Cassie is down there. We'll find out how Gallagher is making that. He's gone to the Canadiens room to be examined. Saw him from here walk down to the dressing room without any help. He's walking very carefully, though, picking his way. Here's Briere taking a shot. That was stopped by Talbot, and right there waiting for a rebound was Gionda. There was none.
Let's take one more look at this. Carcillo coming back into the zone. Gallagher trying to get out. And right now Carcillo is looking at the puck. And then at the last second, I think he sees Gallagher, and then he jumps up at him. Here comes Gallagher out. It's an interesting play.
Canadiens better not lose young Gallagher. A spark plug for this team all year. A lot of weight is being thrown around by both teams. A little bit more. This play is stopped near center ice. Puck hit with a high stick.
There is the good news if you're a Montreal Canadiens fan. This kid's a tough customer, and he's right back on the bench.
He's all right. Brendan Gallagher.
He pays the price. That is for sure the way he goes to the net with authority. It stays there.
19 goals, 22 assists. Not too shabby. Canadiens get organized from center, but everybody was stopped. White tries to catch up. He gets in first, all right. Was checked, got loose, took a shot. Another face-off in the zone as Talbot smothers this.
It's time for the Crown Royal Icebreaker. Why not try Crown Royal Maple on the Rocks? Crown Royal, the official whiskey partner of the NHL.
Hockey Night in Canada coming to you from Montreal on the CBC Full Network tonight. The New York Rangers here to meet the Canadiens. Nobody's been able to score a goal. We have 11:05 left in the second period. Shots are 21-12 overall for New York. Canadiens battle for the puck. Again, horn the ball around the net. Got it all the way back. Sharp angle shot. Tipped in front of the goal. That's what they wanted for the Rangers. Clear it out of the danger zone and down through center. There goes Boyle to pick it up. Boyle got in, had it knocked away from him, and the Canadiens dump it to center. Nobody could move on it. Dominic Moore is the first one back. Had to hurry the pass. And it's played by Weaver to the far side for Montreal. Bournemouth made sure it got in deep. London went after it for the Canadiens. Didn't get it. And it's out again to Subban. Inside his own line to Pacioretty. Long pass was good to Vanek. He had to put on the brakes. Saw Pacioretty come out. Here it is! Shot is wide by Pacioretty. Subban at the line. Poked it ahead. Pacioretty to the corner. He and Desharnais. Pacioretty got it back. Subban had stepped back. Couldn't find the puck, and Nash got it outside the line. Subban stopped it. And a couple of dandy plays to get into Vanek. On the other side, Desharnais lost it. And Nash got going for New York. Just left it outside the line to Dorsett. Down on one knee. Couldn't get very far that way. The Rangers just shoot it up to the Montreal blue line. It's cleared down there again. Vanek in there for Desharnais. Centered. Puck loose. Vanek can't get a shot through the crowd. Back at the line. And Markov's shot is blocked. Desharnais sees a man. There's a high shot stopped by Talbot. Great action around the net. And that last shot went high from Yemelin. And Talbot deflected it out of play. No score.
Well, initial giveaway by the Rangers coming out of their zone creates havoc in front of Talbot here, and the Montreal Canadiens on the counterattack here get a couple of good looks. Talbot goes right down and spreads out. And somehow this puck does not find the back of the net as Talbot does a great job. As we take a look at this replay from our LASIK MD netcam presented by LASIK MD.
Face off to the right of Cam Talbot. Henrik Lundqvist is the backup goalie tonight in this final game of the regular season for these two teams. Rangers ready for Philadelphia. Canadians getting ready for Tampa Bay Lightning. The Lightning play tomorrow in Washington. 9 minutes, 5 seconds left in the second period in Montreal. The Rangers get the puck into Price. Slowly, hung on a little bit too long, and very close to picking it off was fast. Gallagher lost control. Richards back in, setting up fast. Can't get a shot though. Canadians get it back, and Gallagher had no place to go, but it bounced over the stick of Mark Stahl at the blue line. Here's Stahl. Step or two to his own line. Comes to center, gave it away to Gallagher. Gallagher couldn't take advantage, and the Rangers turned it back. Richards got across center and dumped it in. Markov back first. To Yemelin to the corner. Up to White. White's pass was a dandy. Hornival skates in and takes the shot. Talbot stopped it on the short side. The Canadians are in after it. White does get it for Montreal, but then poked it too far, and it was cleared by Broussard of the Rangers. Canadians from center shoot it back in. That is John Moore around the net, and he can skate. Got the puck away, though, on a pass. Elected not to go himself, and then they're offside up across the Montreal blue line.
He's been a steady player for the Montreal Canadiens of late, and one thing he does very well is gets his stick into the play when he gets in trouble here. Here's a giveaway where he has to scramble in a hurry. There's a real nice play on the poke check, and then gains puck possession, and the Montreal Canadiens get out of their zone.
.56 on the clock. Shots 22-15 overall. Second period winding down. No score in the game. Rangers stall from center. Caught. Whipped away by Carey Price. Canadians slow getting started again. Stahl stayed inside the line and stopped the pass. However, cleared up by Georges. Off the boards and in deep in the Ranger zone. First one back was Justin Falk. Left it for Stepan. He got the puck ahead, and away they go. Nash to center. Nash the shot, and the save made by Price, but he gave it away to Nash. Then the shot is wide of the goal. Kept in at the blue line by Falk. Again, Dorsett after it over there along the boards. Briere tried to pin him. Tough to do. He fell. And the referee's there, and he's going to call a penalty against Montreal. And there may be more before this is done. Rangers had backed off there. They had a power play coming up. And you have to wait now to find out what's going to happen after this mess.
All starts with Carey Price giving the puck away, which kept the puck in the Montreal zone, and then P.K. Subban is going to get the initial call on this play for the hit. And then after that, I don't know if we'll see another penalty or not. And here is this hit right there. Wow. The cross check after maybe is where Subban got the penalty, because the initial hit, I didn't mind it much. Dorsett fell more than anything else.
Now there's Boyle coming in. He's just 6'7" and over 240 pounds. Subban in the box, waiting for company.
I would imagine that the Canadians are going to get the extra 2 here, but we will have to wait until the officials sort it out.
That was the initial call. A penalty against New York. And then the scrum. And out of that mess, and probably 2 more penalties.
And Carey Price makes terrific plays with the puck 9 times out of 10. Sometimes he gets a little bit bored here, and he's trying for the shot through the middle and throws it right on Nash's tape. Now he gets away with it, but the Rangers keep the play in, and then the end result on the same sequence in the Montreal zone is the penalty to P.K. Subban.
Now on the clock, we have the Rangers with a minor penalty and the Canadians with a minor penalty.
So they have got away with it.
So far for The penalty box of people, only one visitor. Now comes number 2 from the Rangers, fast. Subban for the Canadians. So they saw it off. And the face-off will come in that zone to the left of Carey Price. Here we go. Brad Richards will come in to take the face-off for New York. A little bit of 4-on-4 in a scoreless game here in Montreal. 7 minutes left to play in the second period. Yemelin striding down across the Ranger line, decides to keep going. Yemelin in there to pick it up around the net. Moore was after him. That's John Moore. Desharnais comes in to help. John Moore took it away from him. Couldn't get very far against Desharnais. The puck loose. And Kevin Klein put it back again to Richards. He goes deeper in his own zone with it to Moore. John Moore for New York. Steps away from Desharnais, and Richards handles his way to the line. Up the center he goes. The backhand pass over here was good, broken up by Montreal. And Markov couldn't feed it ahead to Pacioretty. Desharnais has the puck to Pacioretty, who didn't like the way things looked, so he circled back, and now they get the zone with a shot. Gloved by Talbot, and the goalie hangs on.
Julien has not played a lot of late. Gets in this game tonight as the Canadians continue to try to rest a few players.
McKennett and Vanek step on there now.
Douglas Murray getting a rest
for Montreal, and here it is. Dumped right in on the net on the face-off win. Zuccarello starts it up for New York. The defenseman carries. Diaz. Former Hab in after it himself. Stopped in the corner. Scrambled for the puck. The Rangers try to get it back to the point, but they won't do it. Canadians do not get it out. Brassard intercepted the pass. Then lost it against McKennett, who came back. Georges ripped it back for Bouillon. And he'll bring it back to center ice for the Canadians. And from there, continues on. Bouillon around one check. Comes to the net. Little sharp angle for him. Didn't try to shoot it at the goal. Step on for New York. Lifted one away on the glass to center ice. And the Canadians just circled. McKennett's got it up over the line. And it's dumped in wide of the net, but 10 seconds left in the penalties. So 4-on-4 for Nash coming on. Good pass coming in off the goal post. And it comes out. The red light went on, but the puck did not go in. The Canadians keep it on. Vanek dropped it. Subban turns with it. Subban lost it. And down is Stepan for the Rangers. Dumping it in. And Price cleared that. Penalties are done. They're at full strength. There's still no score in the game. They're waiting for a stoppage to have a look at the last play the Rangers had with the red light on behind Price. But it appeared to have hit the goalpost and came straight out. We're going to find out in a while. How long? We don't know. Bourque. That was nearly a giveaway. Played on the boards outside the line. The Rangers are offside, but the play will continue as the Canadians go back to clear. It'll be Weaver who'll bring it away. That pass too far for Gianna. We get an icing. That's a whistle. And now they'll have a look at the play, I'm sure, behind Carey Price.
Diaz with a good play to jump up into the play. Rattles it right off the post. I think you're going to see as he clearly had Carey Price beat right off the post, off the other post. And then it stays out. By the way, Dorsett has a 10-minute misconduct as well, as he got a 2-minute roughing penalty that was served by Fast. So we won't see him for a while. There's another look at that close play on the Diaz shot.
2 posts, not one, and there's still no score in the game. 4:18 remaining in the second. Rangers get after the puck. Pouliot couldn't come up with it. On the other side they do. Deflected shot wide of the Canadian net. Pouliot played it in around the goal a second time. Bourque stopped that for Georges. Mike Weaver tried to move it out. Was successful, but the Rangers were waiting for it. Ahead to Zuccarello. Flipped the high pass into the zone. Here comes Brassard. Brassard tried to play it. It got around the net to the other side. Zuccarello knocked it down and lost it. Canadians get it down. coming up after it. They didn't get too far inside that Ranger line. White lost it. Zuccarello took a smack at it and missed it. And it was grabbed at center by Weaver. He'll come in, maybe get a shot. Off the leg and wide of the net. White falls against the checking of Strawman. Rangers get it out to center. Nash is up. Quick shot, 10 feet wide of the net. Rangers get on the rebound. Stepan. Nash. Stepan. And Carey Price. And he'll hang on to this. 3:14 remaining in the period. There's still no score. Welcome back to Montreal. Now, Seller claims to have the first color footage ever of the Beatles, and the biggest steal of the season brings one buyer to their breaking point. Watch the season finale of 4 Rooms tomorrow night at 8 on CBC television. Gallagher's back and seems to be ready to go. There's no score in the game. Face off deep in the Montreal zone to the left side of Carey Price. 3:14 remaining in the second. Rangers get the first chance to set up, and they fail to take advantage. Canadians, Gallagher made the pass. There goes Gallagher after the puck. Stahl right on him. Stahl knocked it down. Gallagher stays right there, but it goes to Rafael Diaz. He left it for Mark Stahl, and Stahl gets away to center. The Rangers get the line. Nash comes up in front of the net. The shot fired from the other side. Price was trying to hang on, and the Rangers are all over him. And the Canadians will get in there after the man close. Stahl is right in the middle of everything. So is Nash.
Carcillo's been in the middle of it all game long. And the Canadians reacted after chop by Carcillo on Carey Price after Price makes the save. And here comes the chop right there.
Pretty good chop, too.
And they got the wrong guy until Gallagher came in. Of course, Gallagher coming back on Carcillo from that earlier play in the period.
Crowd just realizing that the Canadians are getting a penalty. Yemelin is coming over.
And here comes Gallagher right here, right on Carcillo. And that's from earlier in the period for sure.
So the Canadians are shorthanded with 2:46 left in the second period and no score in the game.
Montreal can't like that call much at all.
I'll say face-off is to the left of Carey Price. Brassard will try to win it against the Cannons, and he does. Rangers get control now, set up on the power play. Moore pass in the slot, shot stop. The Cannons couldn't sweep it out. Long shot fired in by Richards is off the boards, and Carey Price will cover up.
Well, Weaver's a heart and soul player, and that's why they picked him up at the trade deadline. He may not be the best skater, but he is a competitor. And here's an excellent example of it here where he just lays right down, sacrifices his body, and comes up with a big block. And the Canadians have been really pleased with him.
Rangers win the face-off again on the power play setup. Richards at the blue line. This long pass gets in front and slipped at the net all right by John Moore, who had come off the blue line. And if he had a chance back, he would have waited maybe and got a better shot. It wasn't very hard.
Benoit Pouliot right in front of the net, and Alain Vigneault is elected to put him there, and he has been telling me that he's done a nice job as Pouliot, a former high first-round pick, may have found a home in New York. He's had a good second half. He's an unrestricted free agent that the Rangers are going to try to sign.
Rangers power play, win the face-off again. Richards at the blue line. Richards, pass off, gets it back and shoots. It's deflected wide of the net. John Moore chases, but stepping in front of him was Weiss. Got it down the ice, keeps going, steals it in there. Good work by Dale Weiss for the Canadians, killing some time. And then White slapped the high one on the glass. Turning is Zuccarello. He pulls away and gets a pass down here on the left side. Brassard overskated it. Recovered the puck and had to go back inside his own blue line. Richards with it, 1 minute left in the penalty. 1:45 in the period. No score. Rangers can take the lead here if they come on. Brassard waited too long along the boards and missed a chance. Gets another as he knocked it down and shot it around the net. Up steps Diaz on the other side. Flip the pass in front. Rangers circle. Rick Nash with the puck. Lost it. And it's steered away by Gianna down the ice. 35 seconds left in the penalty. Rangers, 1:18 left in the period on the power play coming out. Down to center is Diaz, weaves his way in over the line. Got it back and didn't know. He was checked then, and the Canadians cleared a break. Down Plekanec, sharp angle, in on goal. Stopped by Cam Talbot. Final minute, second period. 10 seconds left in the power play for the Rangers. Richards down there to Nash. He's in. Glove save. Carey Price. 48.4 seconds remaining in the period. 3 seconds left on the Ranger power play.
We got a goalie battle going here tonight, Eds. It's the youngster against the veteran, and here comes the first save here. A giveaway as Diaz gets caught. And Plekanec comes right in on Talbot. Great patience by Talbot to hold the fort on the goal line, find the puck, and then at the other end, a great pass by Richards. Nash with the shot, and again, we've seen this all game long where Carey Price way out of the net and makes a terrific save.
Great read by Price, and then the reaction by Price. Hence the face-off in the Montreal zone was left. 3 seconds left in the Yemelin penalty. He's ready to step on. Canadians win draw, so they've killed it off, allowing just the 2 shots on goal on that power play. Pacioretty is up. Kind of slipped going over the line. Stahl got in front of him and took the puck away. 35 seconds left. The Rangers another rush. Down is Boyle. Little soft pass in wide of the Montreal net. And it's flipped high by Markov and didn't do much. Cleared though out and down the ice in a race war. Pacioretty, one of the better skaters in this game, got a pass away over behind Vanek, who was up with him. 15 seconds left. Pacioretty stops it. Leaves it up the line. Subban to Pacioretty. The other side. Here's Pacioretty missing the pass. Subban shot. He hurried that one, and it was cleared away to the side. And as Moore got to center, the siren sounds to end the second period. The shots in the period were 16 by the Rangers and 11 by Montreal. And the score after 40 minutes in Montreal, there is no score.
It's a Saturday night in Montreal and Hockey Night in Canada, and there's no score after 2 periods between the Rangers and the Canadians. And I had the pleasure to speak to Montreal assistant coach Gerard Gallant, and it was about his conversation with Brendan Gallagher, and it was the first shift after his shift where he was hit by Dan Carcillo. The first thing he wanted to do was make sure that Brendan Gallagher was fine. The second thing he wanted to remind him is don't retaliate and do something that might affect the playoffs. And the third thing he said to him is, let's watch our turnovers. I know the ice is a little bad, but watch the turnovers. Bob.
Thank you, Cassie. Gallant has done a magnificent job helping out with Michel Therrien and the other coaches here in Montreal this season. The PEI boy. This is Subban lifting the puck up to center ice for the Canadians. Right to Klein, however, he played it back over center. Back and forth they go to start the third period. No score. Rangers start up. A little slow move by John Moore, but he got it over center to Stepan. He dumped it in. Price out of the net. The Rangers are changing. The play on the boards doesn't get out. Stepan heads for the net. Shot comes in. Stepan was there, and he couldn't corral it. He did get it back. Took it away from Vanek. Put the backhander in on goal. Price stopped that, and Markov left it back there for Yemelin. Got it ahead quickly to Pacioretty. Little short pass. Finds Desharnais. Fires the Ranger line where he was stopped by Strawman. Stahl played it ahead. The Canadians going to bring it back. Giveaway, though, by Pacioretty. And Weaver steps back for the Canadians with Bouillon. Up to Desharnais on the other side. The Vanek waited. Shot it in wide of the Ranger net. Bouillon comes up to take a shot. It was tipped in front of the goal. Right there, Desharnais nearly had a chance. Desharnais battles for the puck and leaves it. Back to the line, the Rangers intercept, they do get it out. Well, too far, though, for Richards. And the Canadians dump it down the ice. Diaz circles ahead to Fast. He got it over center and is pounded back the other way by the Canadians. They're seeking to make a change. 2-minute mark coming up in the third period already. As the Rangers get a long pass away to get him up over the line. Cutting in is Moore. Dominic Moore shouted up the net. Hit a skate. Boyle upended in front of the goalie. Canadians send 3 skaters away. Down across center. And London trying to catch up to it. And just failed to do that. Dominic Moore sends a pass out to center ice off Falk. The rest of the way into the Canadian zone, and the Rangers are changing with Subban finding open ice. Got to center, shot it in as he nearly lost it. Now he heads off. Centering pass. Canadians come close here. Another shot off a leg. Doesn't reach the net. Brassard takes it away from in front of the goal, and it's cleared out to center ice, and the Rangers dump the puck in on Price. He waits. Wow, it got high on the glass, but in play, and Gallagher is in. But the shot that was off the stick of John Moore wide of the net. Markov's shot is wide. Other side, Canadians on it, tipped in front of the goal, doesn't reach the net. As Weiss had an attempt to tip in front of the goalie, Cam Talbot. That's John Moore with the puck up as far as center. Rangers coming on right to Price. Can't beat him from that angle and that distance. No rebound either.
And at the other end, Talbot, one of the few mistakes that he's made all game long handling the puck, as he gets caught trying to bank it to his defenseman. It doesn't go so well, and Gallagher with a great chance, but Talbot slides back on that butterfly and gets his pad down in time to make sure Gallagher doesn't chip it in on him. The idea is right. The pool shot wasn't so good. It almost cost him.
Face off to the right of Carey Price. Greer wins it cleanly. Back to the net. Subban nearly gave it away, coming out toward his own line. And the Canadians get the zone. Gianda had to back off. Too late. It's offside at the Ranger blue line.
Calling Cam Talbot a youngster, that's because really just because he's in his first year in the National Hockey League. We'll get to that in a moment as we look at the game-winning goals. Pacioretty right up on top of the league, and will he be the hero tonight? You can see Nash right in the mix as well. Getting back to Talbot, he's 26 years of age. He played 3 years at the University of Alabama, Huntsville, and then he spent 3 years in the American Hockey League. And I was talking to his goaltender coach, Benoit Allaire, between periods. He says, you know, that might be the perfect age in this day and age for a goalie to get in the league, around 25, 26. They seem to be ready, and it takes goalies so much longer.
No score, third period. Jesper Fast trying to break in over the line. A long shot missed the far side of the Canadian net. Rangers are on the rebound in there, though. From behind the goal at center, Richard saw a man coming, couldn't hit him. And then Strawman got back for New York. Off the glass for Richards. He was covered at center ice. Strawman again goes rink wide. Line poked it ahead. It got as far as the Montreal blue line, so they're back and forth and nothing really happening. Strawman around the net. Takes a look. Pass got down to the far side. Boyle had it go off his skate. Back to pick it up and give it a time coming in. No shot. Backhanded in wide of the net. And the Canadians come close. Knocked down was Plekanec. Crowd wanted a penalty. Not getting it. Still no score in the third period, coming up to the 5-minute mark. Yemelin stops it. The Rangers are changing. Weiss in with a weak shot wide of the goal. It's got the rebound off the boards and backhands it in deeper for Gallagher. He is covered. It's shot away on the far side. Won't get out past Yemelin. Yes, it will. He and a Ranger player up in the play. Pouliot collide and go down.
I don't know who's going to get the penalty here. Originally, Pouliot was being held up after the shoot-in by Yemelin, and then Pouliot ended up jumping on top of him. Well, this may be an even-up situation by the end of the day here. Pouliot had good position here after the giveaway by Yemelin. That might have been the original penalty, except Pouliot just jumps and tackles Yemelin afterwards. And both players go to the penalty box.
Well, Well, we're still scoreless in this game between the Rangers and the Canadiens in their final regular season game. Both have made the playoffs, of course.
I would imagine it'll be 4-on-4 here, Bob.
That's exactly what's going to happen with each team penalized. A minor penalty. Shots are 32-18 by the Rangers. Getting the advantage of the shot situation on Carey Price. Nobody's been able to bag a goal. 2 seconds off the 5-minute mark of the third. Here we are. A little anxious. Linesman ready. Second time. Drops it. Rangers get the face-off win. Might get a shot here. Ripped wide of the net. That'll ricochet off the glass and down the ice. Ranger back for it is Diaz. Gianna was the forechecker. Diaz again pulled away from Gianna the second time. Rangers get the line. Right into the corner, back by the Canadian defenseman. They don't move it out. George is a little weak, moving it up the boards. Fights off his man again. Little push on Brassard. Now Georges all alone. Leaves it right there beside of his own net. Gianna Plekanec. Over the line, Gianna Plekanec. Plekanec with all the work. The shot inside of the net. Plekanec on the puck. Took another shot from behind the goal, hoping to bank it off the goalie's pad. No such luck. Step on up the center. Comes in for the Rangers. Good angle. No shot. Price deflected that one away. It opens up a bit. And the Canadiens, Desharnais with a pass. The shot. Line of the goal. Markov coming up, trailing the play. Took a look and ripped it. He had Pacioretty going for the net. Decided to shoot it and missed the goal. Kevin Klein backhands it in for New York. Pace picked up all of a sudden right there. With 13:35 left in the third. Desharnais, good move to center ice. Another good move to get over the line and in with the puck. Desharnais, great work. Pacioretty, bad angle. Circle, centered it. It's whipped off to the corner by Georges, who stepped up from the blue line. Georges got the puck. Desharnais with it, centered. Shot blocked. Desharnais again looks around. Big pressure. Shot by Pacioretty, impossible angle. Came off the glass and went into the crowd. Still no score in the third. With 13:07 remaining on Hockey Night in Canada on CBC. Time now for Hockey Night by All. Brought to you by Subway Restaurants.
Well, in the 0-0 game, we should be talking about the goaltenders tonight, as they have both been terrific in this contest. Both teams have checked very well, but both goalies have seen some pretty good looks and some scrambles in front of them. And as we sample their work, you can tell that it's been a goalie battle here tonight in Montreal.
And the face-off coming outside the New York Rangers blue line. Rangers control it. Brassard flipped it back inside his own line, and away they go. On the brakes, John Moore. Centered it. Fanning on that was Pouliot. What a great chance. He had the wide open side of the net and fanged on it. So the Canadiens get a break. Yemelin poked at it. It got in deep. Klein back for New York. Rangers poke it ahead. Pouliot couldn't get it out right away. Now they dump it to center ice. And Zuccarello was upended, and they're going to call this one. Whistle went right away. And we'll wait on this to see what the outcome is going to be. Crowd sensed a penalty was going to be called against Montreal, and that looks to be the case. Here he comes, Bouillon. And listen to the crowd now.
That extra play where he sticks his leg out is where he's going to get called. On Carcillo. And Carcillo, a bit of a marked man after he ran into Gallagher in period number 2.
Well, the Rangers here have a power play opportunity on the Canadiens with 12:32 remaining in the third period. There's no score in the hockey game. Rangers 0 for 2 in the power play department. Total of 5 shots down the ice it goes. Richards, the quarterback of the Rangers power play, starts it up. Comes to the line, unmolested to center, dropped it back. The speedy Stepan coming in, they're offside. Nash carried in, Stepan had already gone in.
And just before the penalty to the Montreal Canadiens, Pouliot had a wide open net. And it just tightened up on him, and he fanned on it as Carey Price was trying to get over, but was probably going to be a little bit late. And that was the best chance, I think, that the Rangers have had all game long. That didn't work.
So they've just chewed up 22 seconds on the power play. Rangers with the puck and start it up again. John Moore carries. Good carrying of the puck defenseman. Wow, he stopped at the line though that time. He showed some great speed trying to break through. Now the Rangers organized, but they're all dead stop near the line as Nash brought it in, had nobody to go to. Easy clear for the Canadiens. 1:10 left on this power play in a scoreless game. Good work up there in the forecheck by the penalty killer, Gianta, the captain. He is gone to the bench. 55 seconds left in the Bouillon penalty. Rangers nothing, Canadiens nothing. New York on the move. Pouliot the other side. Shot coming? No, not yet. Zuccarello turns it back to the line again. Richards' shot is blocked by Carey Price. It was a good shot by Richards. Headed for this glove side. And the glove of Carey Price was waiting for it.
Good shot, but no traffic in front. And Carey Price is going to pick those off all game long. The Rangers are there, but they're not taking the eyes away from Carey Price and getting into the shooting lane so he can't see the puck. A real nice entry by the Rangers to get into the zone. They move it well. They've got pretty good movement on the power play. But both players are to the side of the net. And Pouliot never gets in front of Price, and he makes a routine save.
Plekanec against Brassard. Plekanec winning the face-off, and it did come out. Diaz just had it hit a stick and escape him, and it got out. More time rings down. 27 seconds left in the Ranger power play. They're onside this time, but the puck is outside the line again. Brassard all the way back with it. Poked it ahead. Weaver is going to get there. He's going to clear it on the boards the length of the ice. Halfway mark of the third period is coming up in 42 seconds. 10 seconds from now, the Canadiens will be at full strength. And coming in is Stralman and on goal! Price stopped him. Squeezes the pads and hangs on to this one. 1 second left in the penalty.
Well, it seems like the defense here in this third period are going to have to join the attack as both teams have played such a tight style of game. And this time it's Stralman for the New York Rangers joining, coming right in. And a bad angle shot that almost squeaks through the pads of Carey Price.
2 shots for Carey Price on that power play by the Rangers. Dominic Moore on the faceoff wins it clean to climb. Screen shot. Nice blocker stop by Price. The penalty over the Canadiens. At full strength, and Bouillon fed the puck in over the line for Desharnais. Centered it. Missed everybody and got out to center ice. And the Rangers jump on it quickly. Dumped into the zone by Dominic Moore. He comes to give chase with Boyle of the Rangers. Moore has it. Moore around the net. Going the other way. Fooling everybody. Got it out. Klein. He missed the short side. Puck off the boards. Didn't get by Boyle at the blue line. Good pressure by New York. Just past the 10-minute mark, and Desharnais strides to center ice again. The pass got up to Bennett. The crowd is roaring for the Canadiens to get going. Klein in there. And the shot was fired by Dorsett on the net. And Carey Price makes yet another save. We're still scoreless in Montreal. Don't go away.
Michel Therrien and Alain Vigneault both joined the Montreal Canadiens in the same year. Therrien coached the American League team. Vigneault coached the Montreal Canadiens. Therrien took Vigneault's job here in Montreal, but they've stayed great friends. And they had a nice chat before the game, as they always do here tonight. There's quite a connection between these two coaches.
The faceoff coming up to the left of Carey Price in that big circle. Richards bends in for New York against Plekanec of the Canadiens. Scoreless game here in Montreal. 9:43 remaining. Rangers win it. The shot fired on the net by Hagelin comes right back to him, and he got it behind the goal. Chasing it, Richards looks out front, gets the pass away. Shot is fired in wide by Fast. The defenseman Pine stepping up to get into it. Behind the net on the other side of the corner now. Referee and wait a little bit, backed off. Does McCauley to get out of the way. Scramble for the puck, and the Rangers have it. Behind the net, Richards trying to center. Lost it to Markov. And look out, the referee out across the blue line near center has called a penalty against the Canadiens.
62,
No,
2 minutes.
the Rangers, excuse me. And the crowd thought it was the home team. Well, you never know. Hagelin is going to the penalty box for a cross check.
Yeah, it was in the corner on the scrum to the right of Carey Price. And the back official.
He was out near center ice.
Hagelin, and boy, oh boy, that was a soft call from the back player.
All right, Canadians will take it. They have the man advantage with 9:12 left now. Face-off won by Canadians. Pacioretty and Vanek got it back. Markov, Vanek, stop. Rangers clear. Subban hustles back. He's checked immediately. Subban can't get a hold of the puck. Rangers are going to send it away. Boyle is moving up. He has Dominic Moore with him. Boyle takes a shot. Deflected, out of play, and the face-off will be in the Montreal zone.
And as I mentioned, period number one, the one thing Montreal has to be a little aware of here are the Rangers who try offensively when killing penalties. They've got 10 shorthanded goals, which is third in the league.
Second in the league and killing penalties, well over 85% efficiency on the road. So the Canadians have their work cut out. Nobody's scored a goal tonight. Desharnais lost it. Came back to him. In the corner. Back to the line. Hits his stick and got out. Markov couldn't control it. So the Rangers get a chance to send the Canadians back. They're going to do that with a long shot down the ice by Strollman. 8:20 left. Canadians power play. 1 minute, 4 seconds left on it. They can't penetrate the line. Onside, so they back off. Desharnais, Vanek. Desharnais again. Back out. Pacioretty can't get a shot. Not a decent one. It just rolled in. Now he misses it. Subban stops it. Subban waits. Sets it up. No shot from that side. Subban maybe. Gives it up into Pacioretty. Back to Subban. Subban and Pacioretty back and forth on the power play. Wasting time. Subban comes to the net. Passes off. Pacioretty. No shot. Rangers clear it. 25 seconds left in the power play. Tough going for Montreal with the extra man. And very slowly out of the zone this time, Georges. Up to center. Lifts one in to the left of the goalie, Cam Talbot. In after it, the forecheckers get it. McKennan's lost it. And the Rangers kill it off by getting it out and down the ice. One shot on goal on this power play by Montreal. It is now done. And the Canadians get as far as center, and it's dumped in. Hagelin delivers a hit on Gallagher, who shot the puck in. Stays there, hoping it'll come out to him. On the puck in the corner. Hagelin flipped it, and it got out. Gallagher there to backhand it in, but the Canadians have to tag up. That was Briere who was caught inside the line. 6:40 left, third period. Scoreless game at the Bell Center in Montreal. Klein to his own line. Played it off across center. Hagelin got a stick near it, bumped it in. Weaver was there, took a hit. Canadians are skating though and getting out of the zone. It's played in hard. And up is Bournemouth. He got in there, but overskated the puck, and then it went out of play. 6:20 left.
Michel Therrien doesn't have many concerns about his team going into the playoffs, but he does have one, and that's the power play that is having some very difficult times at the moment. He said he wants to see them much more aggressive on the power play with more traffic and simplified things a little bit. And when they got Thomas Vanek, I mean, he's a terrific offensive player, but he's also extremely creative. And perhaps the power play a little bit out of sync, even though Vanek has been so good 5-on-5 since Vanek has arrived.
Puck to Mark Stahl right off the bat. It's cleared out and down the ice. Canadians come back to pick it up. Play for Desharnais. Not a clean pass ahead. It hit something. Vanek couldn't pick it up. Rangers dump it in again. Price says, I better get out and get this, and he does. To Yemelin. Play to the head to Pacioretty. Pacioretty up the center and over the line he goes, but he lost it to Rick Nash, who shot it the other way. Here's Carcillo coming in. The blasted shot, and he didn't miss by much. It did miss, however, and got into Richards behind the net to the corner. Back out off the line is Nash. Ahead to Richards, he missed it, got behind the goal, and Subban waits. The pass hit Pacioretty's skate. Goes for it, backhands it in. The Canadians are changing. And Talbot stops the play. 5:25 remaining in the third period in Montreal. No goals. After Jerry has a positive interview at a rival school, he attempts to use it as leverage with Principal Callahan for the coveted phys ed job. Watch the season finale Monday night at 9 on CBC television. Here in the third period in Montreal. We have 5:25 remaining. Faced off deep in the Ranger zone to the left of Cam Talbot. Canadians every man up. Let's see what happens when they drop this one. It'll be Briere for the Canadians in against Brad Richards of New York. Richards wins it. Bournival, however, after the puck. Centering pass right in front of the net. In the scramble, Bournival couldn't get it by the goalie. Pass went by him, got in behind the net. Flipped in behind the goal again. Centered, big crowd in front of the goal. Subban moved up, had to back off. At the line, dangerously close to losing it, but he keeps going. Subban turns at the line and now lost it. Hagelin trying to set something up, but it's Georges bringing it back in for Montreal, shooting it around the net. Played off the boards. Jesper Fast was there. Subban again, shot. Oh! Deflected just wide of the net on the short side. There's Bournival picking it up. Bournival along the boards, got it back to the line and out to center. Now we welcome you people who have watched the Ontario game to this one in Montreal. It's scoreless. The Rangers and the Canadians with 4:28 remaining in the third period. Montreal on the puck. Rangers out shooting Canadians 38-21 to this point in the game. There's Gallagher up after it. Took a little bump in there. René Bourque got it off the boards back to the line. Bouillon played it in. Gallagher with it again. He's covered back there. Pushed around a little bit. Gets loose a little bit. Can't get completely free. Stays in fighting for it. The shot is knocked down by Cam Talbot. And he hangs on to another one of those great shifts by the youngster from Vancouver, Brendan Gallagher. What a play he made.
Well, he's so decisive behind the net here. I mean, he could just slip and slide and twist and turn, and he does a beautiful job of turning back on Dorsett and then getting good position as a right-handed shot. Walks right on Talbot and tries to throw it short side high, and a real nice play and a better save as Talbot's been great all game long for the Rangers also.
Canadians, Pacioretty after it, got it behind the net where Vanek was waiting, but he missed it. Pouliot skates away and skates hard. Down across the line. Back in front of the net. The pass off the stick of Brassard. Canadians sent free skating to center. It'll be Desharnais playing it in. Pacioretty's right behind him, but he's carried in on the boards and falls in there. Brassard on him for New York. Puck loose, the Canadians back to the line. No shot. Here's one that's off the skate of Pacioretty. He didn't see it. Now he does. Poked it up behind the net. Vanek is turning. Vanek backhands the pass out front. It was stopped by Brassard of the Rangers, and it's out across the line and down the ice. 3:15 remaining in the third, and a scoreless game at the Bell Center in Montreal. And back forward is Diaz. He'll turn for the Rangers and get it ahead. Down across the line they go. Carcillo got it in. Coming up is Stepan for New York. He missed the puck going in after it. Now he gets it. Carcillo behind the net, looks out front. Can't make a play, he's bumped off the puck. Still fights for it though, fighting hard for it, but can't find it. He might on the other side, and up comes Rick Nash to help him. Rangers stop it at the line and keep it in. Subban went after his man and nailed him in the corner. It's center. Stepan missed it. Diaz moved up. Stepan shoots it behind the net. Carcillo was stopped. And again, the Canadians have a tough time with the Rangers coming after him. Diaz at the line, shot in there, Price to save. Off the blocker. Now Carcillo tried to wrap around, it didn't work, and finally the Canadians skate out, led by Bournival up the center. And Giannis shoots the puck in deep, but they're changing as the Rangers come back to pick it up. Hagelin takes it, moved it over in front of his own net. Stahl had to hurry the pass. The Rangers get it to center. Down across the line is Hagelin for New York. Centered it back in front. Canadians, Gallagher broke it up. Gets to center. Gets away from a check. Gallagher coming in. Gallagher! And a scramble up the side of the net, and he can't score. Gallagher gets it again. What a rush by young Gallagher again for the Canadians. Still no score. Stopped by Yemelin. Yemelin pass! Great save by Cam Talbot from the shot. It's kept in by Gallagher. Down behind the net. McCann's trying to center. And Bort missed it. So did Gallagher. At the line, Yemelin. Other side, crowd going crazy. The shot is blocked by Talbot. The Canadians do everything but get it by Cam Talbot. And the crowd is cheering in this scoreless game.
Look at Gallagher here. I mean, he's taking this game into his own hands as he fights off 3 checks, takes the puck towards the net right here, and just keeps going. That's just sheer determination to will his way right to the net. Good play by Talbot to hold the ground. I don't know how this puck didn't go in. As 2 other opportunities afterwards, Gallagher keeps their play alive there, and the Canadians do everything but score. Thanks to Gallagher for the magnificent shift.
2 or 3 magnificent shifts. Boy, has he done something. He was bumped by Carcillo earlier in the game, went to the room, and everybody was anxious whether he'd be back or not. Well, he's back in a big way. Still no score in the game. 1:05 remaining in regulation. Canadians, Desharnais intercepting. Galloping up over the line he goes, and he lost the puck just inside the line. Gets it back outside the line. Good work by Desharnais. Pacioretty shoveled one in, then the goalie caught it, Talbot, and he dumped it away, and it went out of play. So the face-off is going to come inside the Ranger line deep.
A really good play by Talbot. It doesn't work, but he's got the right idea because he doesn't want the face-off in his own zone in the last minute. So he takes it and he rifles it. Unfortunately for him, he rifles it into his own player's bench. You can see his reaction just a foot lower, and that play would have gone off the boards and out, and he may have done what he was wanting to do and not have the face-off in his zone.
Face-off in that big circle. McCann's been great in the face-off spot. They get a shot, but it's blocked. Bournival chasing. Bournival trying to get loose. Bournival lifting one to the corner. Now he has a skate on it. He's off balance. Rangers kick it loose. Mark Stahl can't go very far. Boyle played it back through the middle. The Rangers get up the center. 32 seconds left in regulation. Long pass just past Broussard. Canadians back to pick it up. Bournival shot it ahead. It got the center. Nearly a break. Canadians have to wait. Now Bournival and Gianda. Shot in wide of the net. 17 seconds left in regulation time. Scoreless game in Montreal. The Rangers get another shot at it. Broken up at the line, but carrying up. Right in front of the pass. Hopped away from Broussard. Gianda got back to cover up. And tonight, on this Saturday, the last Saturday of the regular season, we have got overtime coming up. The Rangers 10 shots in the third. Montreal 8. Play came on in that particular play, but you're right, it stayed out off the 2 posts.
On the 4-on-4, both teams have had some success in this game of getting their defensemen to join the attack, is what you have to do in a 4-on-4 situation. And Markov had a good chance earlier in the period that way.
Well, here we go. Overtime. Little bonus, you think? on this Saturday night, the last of the regular season. Canadians earning a point, as do the Rangers. Rangers are set against Philadelphia. Canadians against Tampa Bay. But where does home ice advantage go? Desharnais comes in, flipped it at the net, dumped away on the glass and out to center ice again. Yemelin poked at it. Canadians are attacking first in this overtime. Little pass got in there, and now back to the line. He's set up in front for Desharnais by Pacioretty. Desharnais is tricky. Got loose in the corner. They can't take it from him. Backhanded the puck up there into the corner, and Pacioretty got it back. There's Georges. Bad angle, so he keeps going. Georges in around the net for the Canadians. Looks out. Subban takes the pass. He's covered, and he hit Georges with that attempted pass. It's all the way down the ice. Georges back to pick it up with Subban. Subban, quick pass. Canadians circle with the puck. So far, so good. They're owning this overtime to this point anyway. Montreal turning back though. Rangers very careful checking. Long pass by Georges down the line. Plekanec is in. The pass comes to Georges. Hopped away from him. Trying to clear is Diaz. Georges shot. Right on. And Talbot makes the save and hangs on to it.
Pretty good pressure by the Montreal Canadiens. Georges joins the attack. And Gionta with a terrific move on Diaz to strip the puck from him. And again, Talbot in perfect position without a rebound on the play.
Faceoff is going to be in the big circle to the right of Cam Talbot. Briere getting set to pull it back if he can. Does. Too hard. They've got by Weaver down the ice. The speedy Hagelin went up for New York and stole it. Hagelin poked the puck ahead to Richards. The ever-dangerous Richards looking around for Hagelin. Finds him. He's covered by Weaver in there for the Canadians. Canadians in a little trouble here, though. Briere comes back to help. Puck loose along the boards. Battle for it. Back to the line. Hagelin gets set. Gets in a better spot. Gives it to Strawman. That shot. That's wide. Rebound! Price got over to cover up in time as Hagelin came in. Price down, and the puck comes loose, but the whistle had gone, and the Canadians hold their breath.
Price had it, and I think the puck rolled up him after he gets across beautifully here as the puck comes off the end boards. They're very quick here in Montreal. Where's the puck? Price doesn't know, but when you don't know, the best thing to do is to stay still and get that glove behind you. And that is exactly what Price does. As his puck rolls down, ooh, almost went between the post and his body and into the net.
Faceoff is to the right of Carey Price, as you see, and leaning in is Dominic Moore. For the Rangers, against Plekanec of the Canadians. Moore wins it, comes to the line. Breakaway, down for the Canadians. Gonna be a penalty shot, I'm sure. Yes! The referee points to center ice. A penalty shot is called as the Canadians' captain was tripped, hitting the Ranger blue line. Stand by, everybody.
Line and Diaz get their signals crossed, and then Diaz, all he can do is Gionta is trip him up. As he falls, that's an easy call for the official to make.
Gionta, the captain of the Canadians, was tripped. It's a scoreless game. The last game of the regular season for these two. The crowd is standing, and the captain, Gionta, has this penalty shot. Scores! The Canadians win the game. 1-0. And now, wait till tomorrow to see what happens with Tampa Bay and Washington. What a way to win the game. The captain, who's been great all season, now shines the brightest. Isn't he something?
He has been their inspirational leader all season long, along with Carey Price. and it's fitting that he gets the last goal of the regular season here on a beautiful move as he holds Talbot. Talbot comes well out and challenges him, and he chips it over top of his glove, and he's the hero here in Montreal tonight.
Brian Giunta, who could ask for anything more. The Canadians at home salute the crowd after this rather successful season, would you not say? They're in the playoffs. And let's see what happens. A penalty shot because of the trip. Giunta grabs it. And the rest, you know how sweet it is. A goal at home, and this crowd roaring. Game is done, and the Canadians have won 1-0.